A team that Purdue, physical and attacking is the mode they're going to take today. Gene Katie feels a pressing team generally may not like to be pressed, but the judgment has to prevail. They're not going to take 15-footers. They're going to try and take layups. Conversely, Florida's going to shoot the threes and get after you.
Here's our FedEx lineup. Florida first. And Kenyon Weeks, the one guy who was able to keep some offense going against a very tough Utah State zone yesterday. He had 19. And then Brian Cardinal in their win over Chaminade did it all for Purdue. 29 points, 9 rebounds in that romp. And here they are in the semifinals. Pretty much the matchup we expected, although those Aggies of Utah State almost snuck through to this game. Boilermakers are the home team in white, trimmed in their gold and black, and the Gators in their blue and orange.
And Purdue, the Boilermakers go min. Thank you, Gene Katie.
That was Weeks with the penetration, and Teddy Dupay's jumper would not go from the right side.
This is where I think they'll be somewhat patient. They won't jack up the quick shot, Purdue. They'll force Florida a little out of the tempo they like to play.
And Purdue, the smart veteran team, they will attack intelligently today. They don't want to get up and down with the Gators in that running game. There's Dupay distributing. Weeks from the left side, well short, barely nicking iron. And Brian Cardinal might be the hardest working player Florida plays against this year.
A tough rebound, too. One of those handcuffing. Nice play with the dribble by Robinson. This could be offense. Good call.
Yep, it's going back the other way on the drive by Mike Robinson. And the Boilermaker fans, and they do have the home fan advantage here. They've got more followers than maybe everybody here but Carolina.
Watch the left arm now. He discards as he throws it by. That's a very good call. I know Gene Katie didn't like it out of the gate, but good use of the bounce.
Gators, when they're in their half-court non-running game, they'll run a lot of sets. You'll see Billy Donovan's offense with a lot of back screens, down screening. They like to mix things up. Little pro look here and there with the pick and roll.
And they do a nice job getting it inside their half-court set, too.
And he took a grab on the way up.
The philosophy that Bill Donovan espouses, a lot of it through Rick Pitino, his court demeanor somewhat more subdued than Ricky P. He said to us last night that what he likes to do is talk to his players in the timeout, let them play. And I think that's one of the attractions in his recruiting, too. He's got a good feel for people.
Udonis Haslem had to drop 25 pounds, if you will, to get down to 260. SEC all-freshman, made the all-conference third team last year out of Miami Senior High School. He's a sophomore. These guys are very young. There's only one senior, Kenyon Weeks, in the lineup and on this entire basketball team. Gators 1-0 on the free throw. Now they'll set up their pressure after the made basket.
Now this is the decision now. You're going to attack. If something good shows, they will take it. If not, they got something. If not, nice control.
Yeah.
Good cover by Florida.
Cunningham.
Oh, alley-oop. Send it in. And McQuaid can get up with the best, but look at the counter for Miller. Is that quick and decisive? Nice play by Dupay.
Mike Miller, subject of that heated recruiting battle a couple of years ago. And the Boilermakers will keep it as Florida pressures in the backcourt. You better not relax and celebrate after you score a basket against Billy Donovan's club.
No high fives,
if you're Gene Katie's Boilermakers. High fives equal not getting 5 back.
Well, you must get back and identify. And Florida backs off right in the backcourt. They go straight up man, but they're always sniffing.
By the way, Teddy Dupay, who many consider Billy Donovan Jr., the man with the backcourt pressure on Cunningham there. He is just like Billy was as a player at Providence. Robinson, great backdoor look, and guess who? Brian Cardinal with the pass.
Well, the big thing for a pressing team is recovering. You must get back and protect the rim.
Here's Dupay, a little stutter step, and the bouncer. Haslam lost it. Cardinal got it away. Now Weeks will swing it. Brent Wright, left side, baseline, long with it.
Good check out. Jerron Cornell.
Do we have some athletes on this floor right now? There's Cornell looking to shovel it inside, and he was fouled on the attempted pass. It looked like Kenyon Weeks got it.
Jerron, if he strokes it, that's certainly going to lift the people from Florida outside so they can dump it in. Yesterday didn't stroke it quite as well as he's capable of. Nice screen, and then they re-screen.
On top, Cornell. Cardinal flashing up high, but Wright was out there to deny.
Spacing wasn't real good on this particular sequence.
Cardinal will dribble into traffic and bank it. He'll get his own. Then he'll lose it. McQuay saves it. And Dupay will run for Florida, but it's 2-on-3.
Oh, what use of the bounce.
Look at that to the left side as he gets away from Cunningham.
And he hustles back to a little lingerie on the floor, the little guy.
McQuay at the other end. Nobody got back except for Dupay, who scored the basket.
And he was under the rim. And that's the coverage necessary when you're going to press. Now, when you give up baskets like that, a lot of clubs get upset, not Florida. They just step it up, keep coming after you.
So the Boilers gave Florida a bit of their own medicine right there. That's a tough pass. They were getting Weeks in there. He's 6'4", but he was surrounded by the bigger McQuay at 6'7". Here's Cunningham, alley-oop, trying to guide it in, and McQuay can't quite spin it home. Off the hands of Wright to Miller. They call him a young Larry Bird, and that's why. Look at those moves. They called him skinny in high school. Well, he's 6'8", 218 now. Jerron Cornell for three.
Well, one thing I will disagree with you about, Miller is a little quicker than Larry Bird. Good use of the bounce.
Dupay for Weeks. How about this pace? Haslam and Cardinal grabbing each other, and Brian Cardinal will get his first.
Now watch this control ball. Gets it settled between the leg changeover, and then the speed to the tin. I mean, that is gorgeous. And then the counter, not getting the coverage. This has happened a few times for Florida. And Cornell able to light him up.
Well, here's where Billy Donovan has so much to work with. He brings in Donnell Harvey, Justin Hamilton, Major Parker off the bench. Parker saved the game yesterday with a blocked shot, and Cardinal blocks Donnell Harvey right there.
Now, you mentioned how hard he competes.
Here's Cunningham handling it for the Boilermakers, who were tested mildly by Chaminade yesterday.
Tough shot.
They're short with it, and they say, coaches do, that Donnell Harvey is like a clean-cut Dennis Rodman when it comes to being a rebounding machine. He took a shot to the eye, it appears, in getting that rebound, but he was considered the greatest high school rebounder in the country a year ago, and everybody wanted him.
In the traffic, we mentioned about how physical Purdue can be, and that's just a little hand in, and that's what happens. And then the reaction delayed as his senses react to it. But what a tough competitor on the glass.
He averaged 14 rebounds a game last year. Mr. Basketball in Georgia. Many considered him the national player of the year. He also had 5 assists and 4 blocks a game.
Look at them loading up in the three. That's a lot of Kentucky there. They get 3 seconds. Yeah. Unfortunately, just a little bit too long by Wright.
The under 16-minute timeout comes 4 minutes and 7 seconds in. If the Gators and Boilers keep playing like this, we're in for All-Americans. And this prompted one of the great comments of the week Sunday night from Stu Morrill of Utah State, who had to play these guys. He said, Billy's got 4 McDonald's All-Americans. In Logan, Utah, we have a McDonald's.
Well, he's also defeating Gene Katie in this category 4-1. I mean, what an obstacle to overcome. Yeah. Mike Robinson being the one for Purdue. That's why they keep a score, though.
Boilermakers will throw it in.
Nice thing to have Cardinal as well. It gives him another head, good vision, good passer against the press.
And Cunningham and Dupay sort of remind you of each other. A couple of scrappy point guards. They cleared the timeline, and they had about a half second to spare. I mean, that was real close.
Maynard Lewis in the backcourt now. Cunningham played terrific yesterday. 7 assists, no turnovers. And a guy that's valued the basketball. So you need somebody to do that against this club.
That was in 35 minutes against Chaminade. That ball didn't even get any iron. It was pulled down by Justin Hamilton. Here's Dupay.
Boy, nice
free throw line jumper. Yes. Down he goes. And he'll shoot again.
The skill level, but you have seen some gorgeous use of the bounce. Individual instruction, sort of a trademark of Rick Pitino, and handed on to one of his astute disciples. He has made some marvelous moves. A little shake and bake. A lot of lingerie lingering out there. You need a cleanup man for more than the perspiration.
And then, of course, you have to have the soft touch to finish a play like that. Cunningham will sit down. Number 12, Maynard Lewis is checked in for Purdue. Not a true point guard, but he can run the point when they have to sit number 43 Cunningham down. And at the line, Teddy Dupay, SEC all-freshman last year. He had a Florida freshman record. 64 three-pointers go in.
Just making free throws very important to Florida, like any team, but more important for them because that sets up their press. They always come back now with Nelson at the point and take Dupay out. Now, when Dupay comes back, he'll be the shooting guard. Nelson stays at the guard. And it's an interesting philosophy. Billy wants to make sure they know the position. Here's the pressure, causes the timeout.
And because that's the first coach's timeout called, it'll become a full timeout. Nearly 5 minutes in, and the Gators have scored 3 unanswered points in the ACC Big Ten. But how about the ACC Big Ten? The first challenge, November 30th, December 1st, on ESPN and ESPN2. And there's Brian Cardinal in that shot. And you can select the winner of all 9 games. You could end up at either conference's postseason tournament.
Little preseason action at high level.
That's a great thing about basketball, Bill. You play the tough games early. They make you tournament tough come March.
Well, as Dick used to say, no bakery goods anymore, huh?
Yeah, get rid of the cupcakes, right?
A little nickel dimer down the other end, and not the kind of foul that you need, Bob. That's the judgment has to prevail.
Major Parker.
Yeah, just no reason for it. I mean, I guess you want to be physical though with Brian Cardinal. Let him know you're alive.
Yeah, it was Harvey, of course, fouling Cardinal there off the ball.
You guys had foul problems in Florida yesterday. Nice staggered screen.
Penetration and a slip by Maynard Lewis. Up the court, Brett Nelson out of St. Albans, West Virginia. And many consider him nice post. Oh, there's Harvey. That's why a lot of people think that Nelson's the best thing out of West Virginia since guess who? Jerry West.
Yeah, and Jerry's here. Nice little bounce pass by Cardinal. They know when to step on the pedal. Nelson is exciting, though. He's got a lot of flair. Terrific passer. A good look in there for the big guy right.
Good help by Mike Robinson for the steal. 2-on-3. Nobody covered McQuay, and it squirts away from him to get over the baseline. 3 Gators went to the ball, and nobody covered the man on the left side, and there's the greatest ever out of West Virginia.
Zeke
maybe a little better than Hot Rod Hundley.
Well, Rod Thorne thinks he's the best. Of course, Jerry, Zeke from Cabin Creek, he knew Nelson. I was talking to him about him. Different style of play, though. Nelson looks for others a lot. And not that Jerry didn't give it up, but Jerry was one of the prettiest jump shots you've seen. And this guy went to camp when Billy was at Marshall and followed him. The Pied Piper. A lot of juice in that guy, Billy D.
Here's Nelson.
Ooh, carry.
Piece. Cunningham did get a piece of it. It hit the top of the glass. Haslam the miss. Oh, there's Miller. Mike Miller feeling his way in. And the sophomore from Mitchell, South Dakota, has a half dozen already.
Shooting guard, right? Tipping it in.
Yeah, Gators by 3. He's such a good 2-3 man. Perimeter or the inside game.
This might be on Nelson on the dribble penetration. And smart play by Cunningham releasing it. He doesn't get the shots, but that's the other thing. You hear the whistle, you just let it go. But look at all the blue shirts. I mean, they have great confidence in their floor coverage. A little kiss off the tips.
And that's the big thing about Miller. Billy Donovan said he needs to get better inside the three-point line. From that same location, Carson Cunningham rims one in, and it's 14-13 Gators.
And that's the middle game that everybody looks for. Guys rely on the three-point shot and don't address the other areas.
Miller for Harvey, left-hander, rejected. Oh, got it back. That's why he's such a relentless rebounder. The initial block, and he kept going.
Look at the size on the ball, too, and the foot speed. Got to be under control now. Yep.
Almost a travel by Rodney Smith, and he threw the ball that was deflected over the baseline. 28 on the shot clock for Purdue.
And Bob, that's what the press does. It puts the ball in different people's hands. You can see Florida attacking the rim.
All but one basket in the paint for the Gators, who have such the perimeter-oriented game. And the jumper for Rodney Smith.
Does that help? A shot of Billy Donovan on the sideline. I'm thinking of Tommy Amaker. These young guys go into homes. The parents fall in love with them.
Yeah, they come into your home, you say, recruit my son and marry my daughter, would you?
Well,
they're that
in both
impressive.
cases, they're spoken for.
Spoken for, of course.
And Allison in the game now. He played very good minutes. And the key, at least from my seat, is Allison's improvement as they get into the tough Big Ten season. He's got to help them. Front line gets a little bigger and stronger with him in there.
On the wing for Miller.
Little zone
He'll
look.
take it out there. A little short with the long three. Another rebound for Harvey. Off with the shot. Miller, despite skying early, came up with it. Harvey over the top. I thought they might get him for a foul, but it's simply over the baseline. Donnell Harvey coming in off the bench. 4 rebounds already.
Well, you mentioned what a tiger on the glass he is, but Allison in there's got to dominate a little bit. They got the zone. They're keeping him in the middle. He's got to check and then cover.
Haslam.
Oh, let him play.
Allison the foul. Whistled by the official, Don McAllister, who was closest to the play.
Reaction. Save the P. Big guys are going to have a little contact. I think this is just good basketball right here. He initiates with and a lot of the ball. That's one of those play-ons. Just delay with the whistle. Gene, not the happiest of guys. I think the heat has slowed him down, though. Normally he would have sprinted down that sideline.
Here's Haslam. 1 for 4 free throw shooting in this tournament. Udonis Johnny-O Haslam.
Last year, 59%. Right now, with your numbers, 29%. It's a strong, very important, particularly when you're on the glass. You're going to get opportunities at the free throw line.
And he's 1 for 6 in the tournament from the stripe. 16-15 Florida on this trip down. Won't go down for the relentless Rodney Smith. And the Boilermakers will keep it on the baseline. 7 minutes and 18 seconds in. Ryan Cardinal will check back in for Purdue.
Say, Rodney Smith didn't really have to go to the other side of the rim. He could have gone up strong, but good minutes. Yeah, and they're looking for a lot out of him.
Well, Brian Cardinal has not scored yet. He's done a couple of other good things, rebounding, passing, and playing defense. Mike Robinson, the trigger man. Cunningham, quick catch, and the release. Harvey was way up there. Cornell switching to the left hand.
How clever. The little guy's got great strength in amongst the trees.
A 2-time All-Big Ten guy, the senior out of South Bend. That was beautiful, and the Boilers lead by 1.
They'll switch into the D, see if they can puzzle the Florida attack. They do a nice job. Look at the high-low setup. Harvey, now the pick-and-roll side.
Here's Miller.
Tough one.
Oh, how'd that get through there?
Oh, my goodness.
Everybody thought he was passing it to Haslam,
he
but
had
it was
a little
Harvey.
spin. He had spin on the ball, like one of those Spalding high bouncers. Remember those? Maybe not in your neighborhood.
Cunningham taking a bit of a shove on the way in. Kenyon Weeks, that'll be his second. And
Look,
we've got just under 12 minutes. That's amazing.
Oh, that hit the stick, didn't it?
I have never seen a bounce pass do that far going through the lane.
Larry Walker, who was our guest a couple of years ago, just had a baby girl. Kanan Walker went to Larry and Angela Walker. 11:33 p.m. A deep shot by Carl. 6 pounds, 6 ounces. So we got another MVP in the family.
Many feel that Larry Walker is the best all-around player in Major League Baseball.
I think Swanee would agree with you.
So would a lot of pitchers. Here's Cardinal and Cunningham on top. Boilermakers down by a point here. 8.5 minutes in. First semifinal game. Georgetown, Carolina later. Cunningham trying to knife his way down the paint.
And Nelson with the little drag, but the stat I was going to bring up, points in the paint. Where is the perimeter game? You're thinking jump shots for Florida. They've got 14 in the 3-second area. Purdue has 10, so you're not lighting it up from deep. Florida 0 for 3 from 3.
Mike Robinson triggers it in. They brought in Justin Hamilton to sit down Brett Nelson, who's got 2 fouls now.
Same play they ran earlier. Good reaction by Florida.
Dupay looking at Cunningham. High pick by Cardinal. Good switch by Harvey. Cardinal, though, in a mismatch. He just beat his man, Haslam, right down the lane. His first basket took him almost 9 minutes to get it.
So there's the push. Dupay, good aggressive dribble to the lane. But you're right. What a wonderful cut. And all of a sudden, the lane opens up. Faulty defense. You see the push from the rear as Udonis Haslem trails.
Back to Miller. Cardinal in front of him. Steps around him. Help from Allison. And contact on the way.
Tell you, Skinning is not afraid to mix it up, as you alluded to him. Good use of the left hand that time. Very confident performer. Just has a flair out there. You give him a Larry Bird? Is that what you're saying?
A lot of people feel he's that good and that smart. He played point guard, shooting guard, small and power forward at times for Billy Donovan last year.
Okay, the proof that players are made all over the country, isn't it? Used to be they had to be a city guy. They had to be a guy from a renowned coach, for example. But now, great teachers at all levels.
Mitchell, South Dakota's Mike Miller. So Allison sitting down with a couple. Nice rotation. Mike Miller with 7. He had 10 against Chaminade with 4 rebounds, 5 assists yesterday. He might be the best passer in the SEC
They do
for a non-point guard.
They do a nice job switching, by the way, too, against this press.
And McQuay, as they played it over nicely, got that ball over in about 5 seconds. Cornell down to McQuay. High arc, won't go. Cornell so active underneath. He's had a wonderful game so far, and Jaron has 9 with 4 rebounds.
Tough match, too, at the guard spot. He can elevate and strong. He's able to check out.
And he directs Haslam to the near side of the paint. Wright looking out there for Miller. Dupay to his right. Cardinal way out there to defend. Shot clock inside 15.
Haslam really goes for the ball. And look at this.
Look at the pass by Miller. Rejection, but a foul, and the Purdue fans are absolutely beside themselves. It'll be on Jaron Cornell. That'll be his second.
Let me suggest, Bob, you better not get into the 3-second area. Watch this lock and load. Is that establishing position? Brent Wright alone. Oh my goodness.
And it'll be number 2 on Mike Robinson instead, who is next to Cornell down there. Brent Wright. Or Billy Donovan, a role player the last couple of years. Did make the SEC All-Freshman team 2 years ago. He's a very good student, all-academic twice. Florida 3 out of 8 from the line. Purdue has not shot a free throw.
And Gene just informed the officials, Bob. He keeps stats better than you and Swanee.
And Brent Wright with his first point of the tournament, in fact.
Ooh, look at this cross in front of Miller.
Gators get the turnover. Wright, my goodness. Was that a pass?
Well, it's a condo builder.
Wow. Brick City, in other words. And Miller about to knock it in, and then Cunningham puts it over the baseline.
Some mistakes made by Purdue. That crossover right in front of a guy who's got good reactions and hands. They're so well schooled and clever. Deflection, such an important aspect of Florida's defense.
Dupay on top for Miller. Stepping out, Cunningham on him. They got a double post. Haslam was looking for the high-low there, but Wright couldn't get open.
A little bit of a match defense here, and that voice will come back.
Miller. Got you excited there, huh?
Yeah.
There's the switch. Hamilton, bodies fly underneath, and it looks like Miller with Cunningham going to the floor.
See, now I'm big on playing on. The pass was over. It really wasn't a vicious kind of a charge. I don't know. Save it. One of those plays, pretty good judgment. Now, there's no good heads-up play by Carson, right? See how he's on the side, then Carson takes the prep. Well, that's one of those to me. Let's keep going.
Now, they called that on Haslam, but Miller was right next to the man who went down.
They missed it, signaled the wrong number.
Yeah. Here's Cornell. Alley-oop. McQuay can't get quite high enough.
Well, we need a trampoline to get close to that. That was just thrown a little bit too much. Right up with great elevation. But you come up empty, so it's not a good trip.
Major Parker checking back in now for Florida.
How about this one, though? Is that high enough and far enough? But you get that opportunity, you don't make it, all of a sudden you're back on the defensive end, and now they're going to change the foul call, I think.
Yeah, I think it was Miller.
Right.
There is a correctable error thing going on this year where they have a 2 dead ball statute of limitations on which to correct a call. And if they correct this and give Miller the call and take it away from Haslam, that will be correct.
I think this is one of those areas. I'll have to take Hank Nichols this year. I think you can correct this at any time.
Yeah, this is not
in that
something that's subject to 2 dead balls.
Right.
But all the officials I've talked to, Billy, they say, hey, let's get it right. It's a good rule.
They work very hard. They're conscientious. A nice little step in. And
Dupay with the 3.
Being a threat, something Florida does exceedingly well. Catch, turn, try and break your guy down.
He's a point guard, but not to be forgotten. He scored over 3,700 points in high school, the highest number in the history of the state of Florida.
Got to be patient when you don't have it. Here's the half-court trap as well.
Cornell, the step through. Unable to get the follow was McQuay. Rebound, Brent Wright. Here comes Dupay. So Cunningham gets out on him.
Nice pass.
Look down. Beautifully done. Underneath Justin Hamilton.
And Wright, who loaded up earlier, becomes a point guard. What size, what vision?
Dupay on Smith. Straight ahead. Good catch by Cardinal. Then it's swatted away from him. Hamilton came up with it, but it was Parker with the steal. Then the Gators give it right back.
And Wright didn't have vision on the ball. Even Dupay will get the turnover. Billy Donovan applauds. This is amazing. Just a little slippage in the defense. You can see the reaction by Rodney, not quite quick enough, and the size and vision prevails. I saw Billy play at Providence and thought, gee, this is a real nice college player. And within 3 years, he was a magnificent college player. Just elevated his game under the tutelage of Rick Pitino.
Yeah, he became an All-American, scored over 1,300 points. Here's Lewis. Too far off the glass. Kept alive on a swat by Rodney Smith, who's been very active coming in. And one of the reasons Rodney Smith is so strong, he raised his bench press 60 pounds this summer in the Purdue weight room. Number 31, keep an eye on him. He's on the back door right now. Now he'll post up near side. Cunningham, though, will go the other way.
He really understands how to value that ball as he turns the corner. Carson looking and making sure. And you look at Billy, his dad generally makes a lot of trips. He had some surgery with his eye, and I teased him the other night. They shoot one-on-one. His dad and grandfather liked the ponies. And I said, you know what they really did? They looked into whether there were any tracks in Maui. Found out there weren't. Said, Billy, you're on your own. We'll watch on the 2. But both of them are so proud of him and what he's been able to do at Florida with his career.
Maybe Billy can bring them out here in April after basketball's over, because that's when the Whales run between here and Lanai.
Do they have numbers on the Whales, though?
Yeah.
They want to make sure there's action.
To those guys, it doesn't matter, Bill.
Just pick one.
That's right. I'll take the killer, you take the blue. And the free throw for Cunningham. He has 3 on the day.
They're right there. I mean, Florida's had some spurts that would... What do they got here now? Offense.
Cardinal. That'll be his second. Purdue's only shot 2 free throws now. And, Bill, what about this? When you're the coach, every single call seems to go against your club. It's got to be hard to sit there and tell yourself, well, things will even out.
Well, this one, it was a mystery to me. He came from across the lane, and I did not see the push. Now, this is to the left of our seat. Here he's okay. He didn't touch anybody. They got the wrong guy.
And that won't be the first time.
If it had maybe McQuay push, but Cardinal, so you get robbed out of 2. They come down the other end.
Matt Bonner.
To answer you, that's why I got excited on the sideline. I mean, I didn't control myself like these 2 gentlemen do.
And there's Matt Bonner stepping in, freshman from Concord, New Hampshire. Another one of those basketball hotbeds.
And Rodney Smith takes the ball out. Boy, you're killing the suburbs.
Well, I tell you made the point earlier.
Yeah, no, it's very true.
Great players coming from everywhere now.
And that pass was not the type you'd expect at the Purdue level. Down at Cardinals' feet. And even the Cardinal can't get a blessing on that one.
Dupay off his foot. Good defense by Cunningham. They'll send Bonner down the floor with Miller. Parker right on the ball. And then Dupay will drop back a bit now on the Florida pressure. Parker right into Cardinal. And now they're going to get Dupay in the backcourt.
That's one of those, they really had them in good shape. 28 on the shot clock, and then giving up the cheap one. And Brian Cardinal trying to loosen the defense. Nice control here, good tempo. And that's one of those, I think it's a good play on, good non-call. And just a little bit too overzealous. Once you get two up there, they start zoning in the back as the dribbler starts either looking at his ball or at one guy to identify.
Carson Cunningham at the line. Started his career at Oregon State in the Pac-10. Made the Pac-10 all-freshman team 3 years ago. Of course, he sat out after transferring and played last year, 7 points a game. And he was an 80% free throw shooter. Bit of a different stroke as he gets that ball way out in front of him before letting it go.
And he's interesting going to the rim, too. I don't know who taught him. He's got wonderful glass shots, and he also has an unorthodox way of delivering hard passes out to the wing with either hand.
Ogden Dunes, Indiana native, Andrean High School. He's got that tough point guard look with the elbow pads and the black socks going.
How about the crew cut? I had one of those years ago. Really? Maybe that's why the girls never said hello.
Here's crew cut Dupay running the Florida offense. Bonner to Major Parker, back to Dupay.
Oh, down the other way.
That was Wright all over McQuay and Brent Wright. And the Purdue fans are giving the officials a standing O.
How about the sarcasm with the Boilermaker fans? But good post defense, the extended arm. And Gene, his guys generally are a physical team, a fair physical team. And here's the post up. And just watch the arms. Now, you can't swim in here. You can swim in Maui, but not inside. Good camera work.
Welcome to Mackey West. The Boiler fans making some noise right now. And here's Greg McQuay. Knocks it down. 5 for the senior who used to play on this club with his brother. Gary became ineligible, and in the opinion of the Purdue staff, squandering some significant talent, not getting it done in the classroom or off the court and staying in school.
That's the sadness in some careers, too. A little scraper.
That ball never got iron, they say, or was somebody in the lane. Evidently, it'll go out of bounds to Florida when we come back. Gators by 3, 7:40 to go. It's been a tough first half for Cardinal and Donovan. And for more, log on to ESPN.com, part of the Go Network, go.com. More on tennis, college basketball, anything you want to know.
Well, Bob Carpenter, I know you've done the games, a little golf, but at night you're missing in action. We need you out on the streets.
Somebody has to be here early to anchor this crew.
Bob Longy, missing your money more than anything, I think. The crew spending the evening there last night. Good denial once again. Cornell, I thought he's had good minutes when he's been in the game.
He's been fantastic today.
Just solid.
4 for 5 from the floor. He's hit his only 3. There's Harvey, the great rebounder, coming back, and Brent Wright sits down.
He has that swagger, doesn't he, Donnell? And he's here to mix it up.
Dupay working off a high pick and roll now by Miller, who receives it. They've gotten out on him. Now he'll penetrate. Lean in. He's off the glass. Might have been deflected. Harvey and Cardinal tied up. How about Brian Cardinal? Harvey's got the ball, but Cardinal refuses to let go.
I'll tell you what, I don't know how he got his hands and arms around worldwide wrestling at its best. Oh, in the street, you could be accused of a lot of things. Now watch Brian, no matter how you get it done, just, well, fortunate to get a jump ball. Change of direction.
Now, hopefully Cardinal will stick with a real sport and step into the NBA.
He's a takedown guy.
He is so strong and so hard-working. There he is. He only has one basket today, but he'll do so many other things. And his explosion will come.
Well, the big thing here, nice backup of the spacing. Another cut the same direction.
Purdue, by the way, 4 minutes without a field goal here.
That's the reason.
Miller getting a piece of it. It'll stay with the Boilers. 12 on the shot clock with 6:43 remaining in the first half.
Well, when you see a guy like Cardinal not score, Bob, you know it's preparation. Billy Donovan realizing don't give him the threes.
Lewis, oh, nice give and go.
Pretty.
Right off the inbounds play.
Pretty. Well,
throw it in, then you go to the hoop.
That's the most dangerous guy, the inbounder. Good look as well.
Here's Dupay as Allison goes to the scorer's table other side.
A little motion here.
Parker looking to release Harvey. There's Bonner on top. He'll set a high pick. Dupay looks for him. Oilers are doing a good job of extending Florida here, and they get the turnover. Dupay was surveying the defense and took his eye off the ball just a moment. Billy Donovan calls a timeout here.
And you can see the inbound defender looks where the ball's going, and a very alert Mr. Robinson gets to the rim, the one McDonald's All-American on Purdue. And Billy now just getting after his guys because of the sloppiness with the basketball. An inadvertent turnover there.
I'd love to see the North Carolina scouting report on Georgetown after the Hoyas and the Tigers of Memphis drug each other up and down the court here last night. That could be a grinder as well. By the way, this morning in the losers bracket, Utah State beat Chaminade 70-48. They will take on USC. The Trojans beat Memphis 92-65. So the 7th place game tomorrow will be Chaminade-Memphis, and we'll wait and see how the others fall into place. But a tough start for Johnny Jones and his ball club here. They haven't shot well in the tournament yet.
That's been a struggle and a tough one with Chaminade. Very good team.
Here's Lewis. Oh, and the bad thing, of course, Utah State today, they lost Dimitri Jorson, their international experience veteran. Broke his foot. He'll be out maybe a month and a half.
And he was tough. Major Parker trying to guard, got the nickel dimer out in the half-court area.
10 fouls now. Purdue will go ahead and take the free throws.
How about the block? The game wasn't televised. Florida, the end of the game, Utah State, Parker.
Major Parker.
Oh, my, Major.
Saved the game.
Rejection.
A lot of folks would have found out more about Logan, Utah, and the Aggies of Utah State had Major Parker not blocked that shot because they'd be playing Purdue right now. Ron Cornell. He's not going to try to bank this one in too, is he?
Tell you, last year's shot. Solid. I mean, they're both of those. Maybe the slippery ball.
27-26. Either that or it carries further out here.
At the air.
I don't think so at sea level. We are 1,000 yards from the beach, by the way, here. Up the hill at the Lahaina Civic Center.
Poor planning.
Bonner on the wing for Parker. Way out there. And a skying rebound for Maynard Lewis.
Nice power.
4 on 3. Robinson spinning, stopping. And back on top to Jerron Cornell.
And that's the composure you need against a pressing team. Take it when it's there.
5 minutes since the last Purdue lead at 21-20. Here's McQuay against Bonner. Cornell. Wow. Missing everything. Shot clock with 4. They can't forget about that. Lewis, that one almost banked in. Robinson, yes.
What activity. And he ran from the corner, sprinted. Wonderful effort.
Bonner for Parker as the Gators get it right back down the floor. Here's Major. And he goes right over Allison, who maybe pulled back just a bit with those 2 fouls.
I'll tell you what, Allison made a pretty good reaction there. Almost came up with it, but the ability to dribble by all these Florida players is extraordinary. Gives them great opportunities on the offensive end.
Now the Gator fans are angry. They thought that was a charge at midcourt. Harvey off the floor and draining it. Jerron Cornell, he's into double figures with 11. Boilers back on top, 30-29. Miller, Bonner, and now Parker underneath Harvey, and Allison will get his third.
After that jumper by Cornell, he started wiping his hands on his pants as though something was wrong, but he stroked that one. And Allison, trying to work and deny, ends up getting a little small change knick-knack.
John Allison, not a whole lot of playing time here, but he has 3 fouls. Still 4:14 before halftime, and that hurts their depth, as he's the man who backs up Greg McQuay down there. They get McQuay back in the game. Cardinal switches down low.
There's some toughness in that guy, Gene Katie, though. You look at Gene, and you know you're going to have an evening. His players react the same way. He demands that they do certain things. And when he tells you he likes his team, that means they follow his edict. They respond.
Yeah.
And they also have a personality about them, much like him. I mean, he's understated. He got a great deal of levity. And you look at him on camera, you go, oh, my goodness. Don't take anything off his plate.
Good looking left-handed free throws by Donnell Harvey, and coming in off the bench, he has 8. Not to mention all those rebounds. He has 4 boards. Here's Cunningham through the pressure. 4 minutes and running with Florida up by a point. A very intense first half in the first game of the Maui semifinals.
Cardinals very good without the basketball.
Robinson double, pulls up, beautiful. And Mike Robinson has 8.
Pull up Jay, and over some size as well.
Here's Dupay on top for Brent Wright. Miller, they've kept him quiet lately. They've really guarded him well out for the basket. He hooks it down to Harvey, who switches it to Wright. Guess who's there? Jerron Cornell.
Here's the reverse man. They're trying to post.
Cardinal for Robinson. Spin move, baseline.
Yeah! Oh, where have you gone, Mr. Robinson? Oh, as he stepped it up. I asked Gene how he's been playing this year because I saw him in the McDonald's All-American game. Said he's a different guy. Look at the spin out, a little contact, the poise under pressure, the little smoocheroo, and a chance for 3. Just great footwork. Just enough use of the hand to keep Miller in abeyance, and then the shaking of the head is to say, nobody can handle me.
Harvey the rebound. You figure if you miss a free throw, you might as well get back down court because Harvey's going to get that board.
L will.
He's got 5 now. Dupay for Miller. Heaters have gone a little dormant offensively here. Dupay trying to tie it. He was fouled. No. There was a call inside.
I think right here with that pick to free him, moved. The one comment, Bob, on Florida, other than Miller with his post pass, I don't think they're getting the right angle to dump it down because the post guys are presenting themselves, but the angle is from the top, not on the side. See, this is the pick here. They're going to give him this one and a little bit of a spin out. Let's get a little play on out there. But the angle is so important with post guys because you seal them and you beg with a hand. If you don't have the angle to pass, it's going to be a turnover.
Cunningham with 5 on Brent Wright's 2nd foul. Boilers by 4. 3 minutes to go. Great hand for Mike Robinson into double figures, replaced by Rodney Smith. Boilers right now enjoying their largest lead of the game. And they're starting to shoot some free throws. Finally, says Gene Katie. It has been tough. There's Cardinal doing his thing. Harvey his. And then to the floor we go with some great competitors matching up.
What a wonderful year they had last year. They lose Tim James, but Leonard just consistently plays great defense, and they're a tough out for people in that league.
Leonard Hamilton has seen to it that they're not just considered a football school anymore. People forget that's a program that really has only been around since about the mid-'80s when they brought it back.
Well, Rick Barry was the name that keeps in the early days, right?
Coach
Early
Foster
60s.
helped bring that thing back in the 80s.
Bruce Hale was that. That's right. Bill Foster. The Clemson Bill Foster.
They used to play their games at the Miami Convention Center that sat about 3,000 people in the middle of a hotel. Smith an air ball. Harvey pulls it down.
There was a Dinner Key auditorium they played at as well, and nobody showed up. Even the guys with boats stayed out. He's down on the wharf, but now he's got it resurrected and in the right direction.
So the Canes have come a long way, and Digger will talk about them at halftime.
A little match now. Gene said he's going to switch the look. See what they got.
Dubé on the wing from Harvey. Looking for some dribble penetration. Miller for Hamilton. Squares up. Just rims out on him. And Brian Cardinal the rebound, his fourth. Running down to the 2-minute mark. And the Boilers are in good shape now. Florida fans thought that was an over and back. McQuaid takes contact. Can't knock it down. But it looks like number 3 on Brent Wright.
Well, they had split the half-court line, so it was a legal play. But nice setup once the catch is made by Purdue. He was able to finish, but just a long stretch and then stepping to the 10.
Greg McQuay at the line. Out of West High School, Gary. He was an All-American there. Yeah, Gary's the town and his brother.
That's exactly where Glenn Robinson, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Glenn Robinson, the 1994 National Player of the Year, All-American for the Boilers. This club has been to 10 consecutive NCAAs. Look at Cardinal. He calls the timeout, but not before they rung him up for traveling.
That's one of those. That's a tough one. Because you can be diving for a ball and slide. This is tough, but if he catches it before he gets to the ground, I'll tell you what, I think that's legal. Because it's wet and you can slide.
He did not even need the boogie board for that.
He just gives you everything. Look at how far he is. From one box to the other, he's down. That's legal.
Yesterday, we saw him sliding out of bounds trying to get a timeout, but he was out before he got the TO. He's always thinking out there.
He does. That's right, on the sideline. I do recall that.
A lot of guys think on their feet. Well, here's Miller. Oh, way long. They've taken Mike Miller out of his rhythm. He hasn't been able to get many shots. Cornell has.
And how about Cunningham? The ability to deliver a pass cross court with a little heat gave Duran ample time to line it up.
Well, the folks in West Lafayette would not agree, but we have an upset brewing here.
Look at that left-handed pass. And that's just a simple play, except very few people can put it on the money. A little heat right across the letters, sport you're familiar with.
Yes, sir.
Strike for the 3.
Yeah, they do call the high strike these days. Michigan State, Ohio State, Illinois considered the top 3 in the Big Ten this year, with Purdue and Indiana right behind them.
Big trip here. I think they got to go inside.
Harvey. Well, they better. They're 1 of 8 from three-point range are the Gators right now.
Well, they played the three-point shot very well, Purdue. I mean, they're up on that line. They're not going to give you an easy look.
Here's Wright. Tough shot.
Look at the follow, though.
Harvey had a tip. Cardinal in there. He-Man. Sweep a couple of guys out of there.
Here's the He-Man.
And again, Brian Cardinal has 2 points, but 6 rebounds.
Watch the charge.
Here comes Miller. Shifts to the left. That's a blocking foul.
How about the ball handling ability? 3rd foul, but in the open floor, either coach is going to be mad if it goes against them. This is slippage. A great look they had. Watch Miller, the slide by. Look at the little ball fake. And that's one, if you want to argue either way, you can. But I would say play on. You know, Cardinal trying to get there, gets a little bit of the shoulder. How about getting it up on the glass? The ability to knock it down. 6'8" and counting. And Brian, number 3, I think they've got to get him out. Let's see if they do.
Miller, yeah, they'll get Bonner out there. They cannot afford a 4th here in the last 55 seconds. Well, Bonner will come in for Wright. Well, evidently the Boilers will leave Cardinal out there for a while, and Mike Miller will attempt to get into double figures and complete the 3-point play.
Now, here's the danger now. If the ball's in play, if it's a miss, I was going to say it might be better for Florida for a miss because Robinson couldn't have gotten in the game for Cardinal.
Well, he's not coming in for Cardinal. He'll come in for Rodney Smith. Boy, Gene Cady rolling the dice right here.
So if I'm Florida now, I induce Cardinal to get the ball, and I induce him to put it on the floor and try and get a charge. And conversely, if he's still in, I'd go at his man on the other end.
And having said that, Gene Cady sends him all the way down the floor so he doesn't handle it.
Look at this trap. Perfect.
There's the pressure. Parker up with it. Here come the Gators, down by 5. DuPay kicks it for Bonner. Long, another air ball. Harvey trying to save it. Florida's three-point shooting atrocious right now. 1 out of 9. And they're lucky to only be 5 points down.
And we talked about Cardinal. How about that effort by the big guy, Donnell Harvey, offering it all up. I mean, banging the glass. That is just terrific for a young player. Bodes well for the future.
Robinson handles it. Bonner on him. Under 30 seconds to go. The Pointers, shot clock just about the same as the game clock. They didn't need to do that. And then they get a foul on McQuay underneath. That is not clock management very well right there.
And Gene just banged the local Maui Marriott sign over there, but just for what you said, Bob. Got to have a better understanding of clock management.
You've got a 5-point lead. You've got the ball. There's no differential between the shot clock and the game clock. He's not mad at the officials this time. He's mad at his own kids. That was a very poor choice.
And that'll bring him into half court steaming. And he backs his guys up at this point.
By the way, there's no air conditioning in the locker rooms either. So it'll be extra hot in there.
You checked it all out. Your research just continues to amaze. Knows no bounds.
Here's Teddy DuPay.
Might be a good time to double a dribble here. I double.
6 seconds. They switch. DuPay through traffic. Leaning. Blocked. No chance.
Pretty good defense by Purdue. That's their trademark as well. Aggressive man-to-man.
39-34. Cardinal giving it his all. He's in foul trouble. Larry Beal, Digger Phelps, 1 for 9. 3-point shooting, the problem for the Gators right now.
All right, thanks, Bob. Live by the 3, die by the 3. The Gators survived last night going 8 of 32 from downtown. They're not hitting their threes, and they don't have an inside presence, and that's where Purdue is dominating.
I think Gene Katie's done a great job still guarding their threes, respecting the fact that Florida's known for shooting those threes, but understand this. Jerron Cornell last night goes 1 for 6, doesn't have a good first half, and yet tonight he lights it up for 14 points, making the threes, and that's been the difference. I think when you look at Cunningham bringing that ball up against the pressure, done a good job. Cardinal, who scored big time last night in the first half, he's been controlling the boards, and that's been the difference. It's been Purdue's defense guarding Florida.
I hope you don't feel too guilty because you gave so much grief to Coach Katie over his ghastly Hawaiian wardrobe last night. He's wearing a plain white shirt, all right?
Score. In the first half, they both got it done for Gene Katie, with Brian Cardinal scrapping away, not able to get many baskets.
Give me my 9-iron a little quicker the next time. Robinson, a McDonald's All-American, if he can lift his game as he did tonight, Gene Katie will have some responses. The pass, the cut to the goal, great read by him. The understanding of where to be, the hustle from the wing to finish and make the layup. He has had solid contributions, energizing the Boilermakers of Purdue.
Well, Florida shoots only 36%. And as we mentioned, going to the studio at halftime, the three-point shooting a big reason for that. Boilers haven't shot as many, but they've hit 2 of their 6. They finally got to shoot some free throws late, but they're only 5 out of 13. Turnovers, well, that's too many for either coach at halftime.
And Bob, let's address the foul situation. Brian Cardinal, they changed, has 2, and that's why Gene Katie left him in at the latter stages of the half. They had given him the 3rd one and moved it.
Yeah, the scores table paid us a visit and said they called the wrong number there. And so it's Cardinal with 2, McQuay with 2, unable to knock down the short jumper, Haslam, and there's Kenyon Weeks, who just got his first basket of the game. He did not score in the first half, and Billy Donovan only played him for 7 minutes. Here's Robinson at the other end, and he rolls it home, and Mike Robinson is 6 out of 7 from the field now.
Oh, quick hit here after going inside. Now, see, they had established a nice little inside game.
End-to-end, Robinson!
Well, they said they're going to attack when it shows. Know when to fold them. And the big thing about Gene Katie's players, I mean, there's a composure about them. They've played the best, met the best, and the shortening of the court by Carson Cunningham continues to amaze, and Robinson, the beneficiary.
Mike Robinson out of Peoria. He was an Illinois runner-up, Mr. Basketball, 4 years ago. Scored nearly 3,000 points in his high school career. Cardinal got shoved down to the floor.
See, you've got to know the theatrics of a player, too. Right? I don't know. Tell me if I'm right or wrong, but I don't think it's really a dirty foul. Do you?
Got the arm extended just a bit.
Maybe that. But the official on our side was going to let it go.
And then the other factor is the wet floor. It doesn't take much to knock people down here in Maui. There's a 5-second call against Purdue.
Now, if I were evil, I would say that might have been
a little quick, a little quick on the 5.
A little flip-flop. And look at the puzzled look, the quizzical one.
Gene Katie wondering what happened to 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi. That one went a little fast.
They only had 1 S in the whole Mississippi.
The look by Dupay inside to Haslam.
But the other thing is Cardinal is so smart, he does the pratfall as well, and that induces an official.
Cunningham up with a loose ball, and the Boilers will start running.
They got numbers here, 4 and 3.
I tell you, they've done as much running as Florida has in this game.
Judiciously, though.
Attacking intelligently, as we talked earlier. Here's Miller, a 360 at midcourt. He'll switch it over the top. Dupay squares up for 3. Long with it. Kept alive momentarily. Now McQuaid for Cunningham. The switch to Mr. Robinson.
Fill in the lane, and they're making them pay for the quick jack. If it doesn't go down, they're out filling the lanes. They've had numbers most of this game.
45-36 Purdue. On top for Wright. They have really taken Florida out of their offense here. On top, Weeks. He needs to get hot, but after hitting one, he misses the 3 off to the right, and Cunningham will bring it up the floor after a 4th rebound by Mike Robinson.
Now they got a tempo, they got a feel, they got a pulse right now, Purdue, and Florida not able to energize themselves.
There's the entry to McQuaid. The turnaround went to his left, shot with his right, and Miller on the run out. 4 on 3. The bouncer through. It was touched by a Boilermaker, so the Gators will keep it.
And what a close there by McQuaid. Great reaction. Cardinal tried to strip it in the backcourt. Closing, covering. So important on a fast-breaking team.
Robinson takes a seat. What a day he's having. 6 points already since halftime, giving him 16. Cornell touches the inbounds pass, and the Gators will trigger it in one more time.
And Bob, this is a tough angle to get the ball in. See where they make him take it. Right dead in the corner.
Last year, Billy Donovan's Gators shot 38% from three-point range. Today, they're 1 for 11.
Nelson in, lead guard now. See if he can get them organized.
Here's Nelson. Silky smooth. Got the roll.
Nice little 10-footer.
His first basket. Well, they feel he could be the best Gator point guard since that Jason Williams guy was playing. Ran into some off-the-court problems and eventually became an NBA lottery pick, but did not stay at Florida as long as he might have. But they love Brett Nelson out of West Virginia.
Exciting player.
McQuaid high. Cunningham the fumble. Miller trying to run into position. Nelson from to Miller, and then the back door. Miller, another chance, and a Purdue foul.
Tell you what happened, it's happened a few times for Purdue. Rodney Smith on the other end was not in the proper spot. So as Carson Cunningham went to make his move, he ran into Rodney Smith. These are all the ensuing follows and putbacks by Florida, but it was just a case of poor spacing, poor understanding for Gene Katie's guys, and at this time of the year, after all the practice, that's got to disappoint him.
Mike Miller, most of those 10 came early. They really shut him down over the last 10 to 12 minutes of the first half.
Just love the rotation on his shot. Now here's the inadvertent out. See, Rodney's in the way there, and the legs scrape, and he could hustle back to try and cover, but all because of not understanding location. And we all know how important location is.
One shot. I'll buy my next home from you.
And I'm not talking about the real estate business.
Okay. Mike Miller at the line again. Cardinal watching it go in. Mike Miller's first point of the second half. And the Gators will bring in Major Parker.
And the other thing, when you look at this Florida team, they've got kids who are going to be terrific, and that's what they are, young guys, and they're going against experienced people who have been through the wars. And so you've got that edge if you're Purdue.
Cornell leaving it for Cunningham. Oilers with 3 guys up high. They're spreading the floor here, working a weave.
Do you recognize that? You're much older than I am. I never saw a weave in my day.
I never could run the weave. It was too confusing. There's McQuay with a touch. And evidently the Gators the last to touch it. It'll belong to the Boilermakers. Purdue a much more veteran team than Billy Donovan's Gators. 5 seniors to Billy's 1. Then the balance on down. The imbalance as you get down to the freshmen.
And part of becoming a good team is maturing and being in situations like Florida's in today. And yesterday, too, Utah State, that was a great wake-up for them.
What a wonderful game they played. Cornell, McQuay, and a foul. Looks like Donnell Harvey underneath. That would be his 3rd.
The penetration addresses the big guys. You have to react and face up, and all of a sudden, the little dish at the end, a little slip. We talked about the experience and the class. Look at the inside spot covered, and all because of dribble penetration.
Harvey, the great athlete, his 3rd foul. McQuay, the great athlete, his free throw, 6 for him. They can't afford to keep Mike Robinson out too long the way he's been playing. He's got his breather. Rodney Smith spelled him for a couple of minutes.
About experience on the bench, too. You mentioned Jim Thrash yesterday, Jay Price. A lot of years coaching and a lot of years understanding, along with Gene Cady.
And they got Todd Foster over there, his 1st year. He was Mr. Hustle for Gene Cady 4 years ago. Cardinal, tough rebound. He's got 7 boards today. Not able to score much. They've obviously keyed on him. And Jerron Cornell going coast to coast, drawing the Florida foul.
They are taking it to them, and one thing the Purdue coaches said, if we get the opportunity, we want you to go at them. If it's not there, don't settle for the 15. There's Jim Thrash on the left, and the Gene Cady, some of the training staff as well, and one of the guys on that bench over there you mentioned was Todd Foster, along with Jay Price. Jay gives us a lot of info on what they're preparing.
Here's Cornell. By the way, Gators have a bit of an injury problem. Ladarius Halton, their talented sophomore. And there's Mike Miller consulting with Billy Donovan. Ladarius, that knee cartilage really bothering him. He has not played yet. Now they're considering redshirting him. Harvey the rebound. That'll be his 7th of the day. And despite all the problems, the Gators are only 3 possessions down with a long, long way to go.
Look at the point guard, though. Miller was the guy bringing it down and running the show. He's playing very large right now.
Harvey for Miller. Weeks on top. The swing to Haslam. On top, it's Parker. Squares up. They still can't hit a 3.
And the follow was there. Donnell just couldn't finish it.
Jerron Cornell leaving it for Cunningham. He runs into a blue wall of Gators and travels.
Good call to walk before it. If you notice on the offensive end, you just cut and get jammed up, Bob. They can't get themselves free. Purdue's defense has been terrific.
Last chance.
We want to win something. I mean, we've been here 4 years, and, you know, coming in, I just automatically felt that I was going to win a Big Ten title. You know, Purdue were coming off 3 Big Ten championships, so I kind of just, you know, charged it that I was going to get one, and you know, yet, you know, I haven't got one. So I think, you know, that, you know, players sat down and, you know, we really got focused and, you know, just wanted to actually win something. So we stayed around all summer, worked, ran, and, you know, did what we had to do to try to better our team chemistry.
Well, they keep playing defense like they are, adding to that wonderful tradition of theirs. By the way, they've gone to 10 consecutive NCAAs and 2 straight Sweet 16s. But if they hold Florida to 4 of 20 shooting, which is what the Gators have done going back into the first half, they just might get that Big Ten title. But I think everything's going to have to go through East Lansing once Mr. Cleaves is back.
And there's the good distribution.
Pretty. Parker too strong on the finish. Harvey rejected by McQuay. A big-time block. Cardinal, yes, and a foul.
Oh, down to the knees. What a counter. Florida ran a marvelous pressure release offense. And McQuay, I just don't know how he got this without fouling. But look at that. And all of a sudden, the leak out by Brian Cardinal for prayer and thanks. No one gets to his knees better or more often. A little supplication. Just a great defensive set to counter the flow of Florida's offense.
Cardinal, the three-point play. He has 5 on the day. What a big sequence for the Boilers, who lead by 11, 15 minutes left. Having trouble scoring now. The entry. Haslam almost lost it on the catch. Boilers really bellying up on the Gators here.
And this is the little matchup, too. A little confusing for Florida right now. Look at them challenging everything.
Cardinal off the floor. Weeks right side. They still can't hit it from long range.
I'll tell you, they are playing their derrieres off right now, Purdue.
Well, you can forget about those numbers today. They're 1 for 13. It's going to happen with a young team. There will be days when the ball just won't go in.
Or you're challenged on that three-point line. You've got to alter your game. You need a middle game and a low post game. And even the catch by Haslam you alluded to.
Right.
If he catches it, he could have done something.
Robinson, great look. McQuay having quite a day down there. Craig with 9. Boilers by 13. And Billy Donovan off the bench, top of your screen, very concerned.
They're running a stacked look now. Screen downs and posts up. Go strong. There you go.
Haslam, way too strong.
Now, look at this pass.
Cardinal to McQuay. Timeout, Billy Donovan.
Billy very concerned, and no question that he should be. But the heart and soul of this team is Brian Cardinal. Now, when you get a Cardinal doing things on his knees with consistency, you don't have a prayer of a chance. How about that? A sliding Cardinal knows no remorse. Oh, bless me, Father. In trouble right now, Florida.
The defense holding Florida to 2 for 14 shooting. So, Bill, what does Billy Donovan tell his club during that 30-second timeout?
Well, you've got to score to set up the press. That's the real dilemma. I think they've got to get it inside, get themselves to the foul line, and you can see the counter by Purdue now. They've been selectively pressing to give them some problems, trying to disturb or disrupt their flow. I just think it's got to become a little more of an inside power game just to get the press set up.
So after that divine intervention, we're back to action here. On the wing, it's Parker.
And they give Cardinal a blow, too. He gives it all. You got to space his time.
Hamilton down to Harvey. Good look. They've got to score here.
There you go. Good timeout. Good understanding in the timeout for Billy D's guys.
54-41. Now they've got the pressure. You don't make shots, you can't play defense in the Florida system.
Now Parker's got to come up, and they got the four-man Miller. Oh, just didn't step in front.
2-on-1. Ball deflected. Haslam with that long wingspan of his, and that prevented a Rodney Smith jam on the back door.
And they would have attacked, too. A good understanding of what they want to do each trip.
Still plenty of time for the Gators with 13 minutes to go. Cunningham for Lewis. Flashing near side Robinson. Then the skip over the top. Good coverage by Parker.
And nice screen by Cunningham, too. They'll screen the wing guy.
There's McQuay with a high pick. Cunningham bakes it in. Adu.
A little double kiss-a-roo. A little bang-banger. And he stuck the tongue out on that one. And it wasn't like Jordan. He was saying, I got away with it.
56-41 Purdue. The entry, impossible. And they're going to get Rodney Smith. That just looked like there was no way they could possibly complete that pass.
Now that's something that Billy will have to work on, his post-entry. Haslam, now watch this one, Bob. This is the Ian horse, huh? Oh, and he was as surprised as anybody. Smith defensively trying to be in the right position.
Second one on Rodney. Mike Miller to throw it in. He is totally uninvolved offensively right now.
He's running the show for them. A little settle here after getting it inside.
Well, good thing Harvey's there to catch the air ball. Donnell into double figures. And Florida scores on 2 consecutive possessions after Harvey's 9th rebound. Here's Cunningham.
Just such a hard passer in difficult situations.
McQuay, soft touch, it won't go. Here's the Miller outlet for Major Parker.
They can score quickly.
A 3 gets him back to within 10.
Here's the post.
Parker, the penetration traveled as he carried the ball on his hip.
Now, Major has a little post move. Should have got it inside.
8:02 out of halftime. Boilermakers by 13.
Digger Phelps' tenure and his contributions. We look at the Florida bench. John Pelfrey, Anthony Grant, and Donnie Jones. A young, aggressive staff. And of course, one of the unforgettables. Pelfrey, right? Unforgettable.
That's right.
That's what you are.
Let me see it. Those eyes blue you've got there?
I'm not Sinatra, as you can tell.
Cunningham on top for Cornell. Oh, good look inside. The catch by McQuay. He's got to wait. He'll score. 13 for Greg, and he's got 8 of those in the second half. 58-43 Purdue. This is the number 5 team in the nation, trailing big here in Maui. They need some shooting. Hamilton, Miller the rebound. Cardinal went down.
I think Donnell maybe. The way he's looking, no? No, he got a break. He was imploring. But the pass here, you mentioned, Bob, just not much room. The ability to turn around away from traffic and knock it down.
Harvey with 4.
They did get it, huh?
It's going to be hard for them to rebound well enough to win this game if he gets knocked out of here. He has 9 on the day. Robinson throws it in for Cunningham. A crucial stretch now for Florida as we're 1:10 away from the midway point in the second half.
Okay, Cunningham's done a nice job hustling to get free and bail his partner out. And you just got to be in the proper spot.
Well, look at the Boilers. Nobody's standing around. They're all in motion. Cunningham. Robinson. That would have been huge. Cardinals got it. He lost it. Got it again. On the floor. Possession arrow belongs to Purdue.
Now, you just got to
love him. He called a timeout before he slid that time.
You just got to love him. I mean, whatever it takes. Oh, is it incredible. The amount of energy he expends. Little. Charles Oakley comes to mind. Well, he'll do anything to help his team. Pesky, feisty. Here, getting the timeout. The team is helping him with the timeout call as well. He really never got positioned to let them know, but the team made sure. Good coverage by the Purdue guys.
I called time, he said, and Scott Thornley agreed with him. His 10th rebound. Cardinal got a 3-point play a few minutes ago to give him 5 points on the night. He'll end up with a half dozen or more assists in this game. So when he doesn't have the big scoring night, he'll do everything else he can to help you win.
Well, you can see why he's a fan favorite at Mackey. They've always had guys who play hard and just giving you everything they can. It's sort of the demand that Gene Katie puts on people.
That's the image you have of Purdue. I mean, they're the Boilermakers. They're a bunch of hard-working guys. When you see Purdue and Katie on the sidelines, that's the image that conjures up. Is a hard-working club that'll do anything they can to beat you.
But don't hang around with a guy who likes Boilermakers. You'll be in bad shape. They just sort of rise or feed off this guy.
Cardinal against right, going to the baseline.
They really cross court beautifully, too. It's usually Cunningham.
Cunningham in traffic. Cardinal kept it, taken away. Here's Wright. Lays it in softly. Brent Wright's first field goal of the day. Good work by Kenyon Weeks.
See if they can get some life here on the front. They're not really, they weren't ready. They're not on top of their pressurized game.
Yeah, that looked like a little mental softness right there after the basket. They really didn't know where they should be as the Gators did not get the pressure going.
Well, it's an energy that's not there that you're so accustomed to.
And we really haven't seen them have it in this tournament yet. Utah State had them standing around a bit yesterday. There's a Purdue foul on McQuay that'll send it back the other way.
And they played the big lineup a long time. No Dupay, no Nelson. And the wry smile. Here's a guy that wouldn't give you a 2-footer in golf. I know that.
He's such a competitor, Gene Cady, a K-State alum like Bill Guthridge, whose team will take the court shortly. Tar Heels walked in here a few minutes ago. The Hoyas have been here for quite a while watching this. Right for Miller. When's he going to score again? It slipped right out of his hands. Here's Robinson leaning in.
Smart play here. They couldn't get organized. And Gene hollering out instructions.
Yeah, Maynard Lewis had his shoulders pointed away from the basket. That was a good decision.
Look at his flare to the corner.
Cardinal from Robinson, lost it. Tough defense by Haslam. McQuay for Lewis without even looking.
See how the ball turns sides? So important. Make the defense.
Cardinal picks up the loose ball. He goes down. That was a break for Purdue because nearly walking with the basketball was their point guard Lewis, as it seemed to get stuck on his hip.
Now, Brian Cardinal has a right to be exhausted. He gives it all, leaves it all. And I don't know how he gets in position to shoot, right?
How do you get a shooting foul out of that?
Well, he did release it with the intention to shoot.
Brian Cardinal. Orono, Illinois, Unity High School. He was a top 100 kid there. And he was probably only top 100 because how many other Division I guys have come out of that small town in the land of Lincoln?
And the dad, the trader up there in Illinois, that's a little signal he has when he wipes the nose, the schnozzle. It's got to be somebody special out there, I think. Will you say hello to?
A half dozen for Brian. Those are the Tar Heels who just came in a few moments ago. And then over on the visiting side, the Hoyas of Georgetown. You know, you think back, Billy, on our years here. I look up at those windows, and I remember guys looking out those windows like Ray LaFrance of Kansas waiting to play their next game.
Bobby Hurley, right?
The great Syracuse bunch of last year that won it all.
And how about back with Derek Coleman? They were out here, too.
Arizona with
Lutz.
They're coming back next year.
Yeah. And Lutz got himself another team.
UConn will be here next year. Denny Crum will be here. And with his team, of course. Off the hands of Wright, and Purdue will have it back. They'll get possession with a 15-point lead on Florida's 17th turnover.
No hurry for Purdue. And Lewis is good for him now. Learn how to run the team. They may need him as the year progresses. Spell Cunningham, maybe play with him at times.
On top, Robinson. Haslam the defense. Miller stands him up, and Robinson shoots right over him.
And Smith made a nice dive to the box. There was an option there as well.
Miller fouled by Maynard Lewis. Purdue's biggest lead, 17 right now, with 8:23 remaining. So the young Gators, with 11 freshmen and sophomores, only 2 juniors and 1 senior, Kenyon Weeks, and their young fourth-year coach put to a stern test right here.
Well, it's when you have a young team, you don't know how they're going to react. And this is a seasoned team they're going up against. It's almost like adults in the pickup games, you know. They wonder why they can beat you. You're quicker, you jump better. Nice penetration by Miller.
His first basket in a long, long while. 13 for Mike Miller.
So they're getting it in quickly and up over the timeline before Florida can get organized. You see, you can almost feel that Florida doesn't think they can win this one. And that's how you get better to overcome that. Hey, let's hang tough. Maybe get a couple of steals. They shoot threes even though they've struggled all game.
Lewis weaving around. Blocked by Miller. Ball stayed in bounds. Shot clock still going. Down to 8. And a blocking foul on the Gators.
Wow. Some of the pro scouts said this game is more physical than theirs. Trying to pick up that charge down in that 3-second area.
18 fouls on the Gators as Haslam gets his third. Billy Donovan very calm during the game. In contrast to his emotional, loud practices And he's the only coach I've ever seen who doesn't need a whistle. He just puts the thumb and the forefinger up, and he can whistle them to a stop anytime he needs to.
Well, he's been looking for a cab in New York for years. You can develop some lung power. But this, for him, too, is some insight into his team as to who can play in this situation and work on how they react to certain things. Must be some blood on somebody. Let's see what they're talking about.
John Stupin, the referee, with Gene Cady. Lewis will go ahead and shoot. Along with it. And finally pulled down by Udonis Haslem of Florida. They need some quick hits here. Miller getting it back from Major Parker. 7.5 remaining. Gators down by 16.
Do you get the feeling Billy's giving a message to the guards, too? He's gone a long way. Maybe didn't like the effort or shot selection.
He's got the big lineup in there right now. And it goes down for Haslem with a foul. John Allison's played about 5 minutes today, and he has 4 fouls. Gene Cady can't get any minutes out of him whatsoever to give Greg McQuay a rest.
Well, and also to give him some experience. Here he just, maybe the footwork is faulty. Gets there too late and the hip check. The big thing for Florida is, on occasion, they've developed some inside game. And in these type of games, when you're not making threes or they're being taken away, that's an alternate plan. And you've got to develop that inside game against these tough teams they're going to play.
Haslem at the line. This could be big for Florida. A 3-point play with 7:18 to go. Allison's played about 6 minutes in this game and has those 4 fouls. Look at the shots that keep banking in this tournament. 7:18 to go, and the Boilers have given it their all in Maui today. They lead at 63-50. They've been emotional, they've been physical, and they have been efficient against a good young Florida team.
If you can test Purdue, if you're Florida, see if they can make shots now. Be solid inside, see if you can force a jump shot. All of a sudden, Billy can get his guys back within shot there. You mentioned 10 earlier. And that's sort of the magic number in college or any basketball.
And if you're Florida, how do you make the comeback with the threes? Great ball movement. And McQuay met in the air by Major Parker.
A major rejection. Oh, terrific basketball by Purdue. That was a flash zone setup, and this is quick. Now, see if you can feel this one. Oh. You know how tough you have to be, Bob? You take a hit like that and be able to step to the line, count the chiclets, vertebrae got to be a little off.
You know this feeling.
Yeah, you look like an S-curve.
McQuay has been more than that today. That's his 14th of the day.
And this is the one danger with the head, Bob. Ooh, goodness.
What a day. 15 for Greg McQuay, the senior. 65-50. The Gators are 1 for 14 from three-point range. They've got to hit about 4 in a row just to have a shot.
And they're doing a better job getting it inside. You can always settle for that jumper.
Miller the entry. McQuay down on right.
Tell you what,
if he reaches around, that's his 4th.
Miller is some post passer, Bob. I mean, he just really has a feel for it. Dad played college basketball at Dakota Wesleyan, so I'm sure it started with him. There you go.
Well, the starters, 10 field goals, 32 attempts by those 5. Parker, no. Again.
McQuay, yes. Elevation.
We could have an all K-State coaching final tomorrow. As Bill Guthridge, the Wildcat alum, awaits the verdict here as Gene Cady, a K-State guy, has the big lead right now. Cunningham on top. Shot clock down to 7. Now to 5. High pick Cardinal. Shot clock at 3. The prayer goes up and barely nicks iron.
May have had a kick back to Cardinal, too, on that.
Entry quickly right, and weak side help from McQuay for the knockaway.
And that's the look of Gene Cady. His defense understands ball side and weak side. And wonderful read the help out by McQuay.
Miller will trigger the ball in with 6:06 remaining. And now, before the pass, it's Jerron Cornell with a foul. They don't need that with the clock not moving.
No, not a good play. Not a good judgment. 1-1, 2.
Yeah, that puts the Gators into the bonus.
Yeah, these are little small change fouls. You don't need Jerron wanting to make sure that it's a wider cut.
Kenyon Weeks at the line. Only 2 points today. He had 19 in the win over Utah State yesterday. A deadly shooter who came into this year a career 43% guy from three-point range. Got them both. 13 the spread. You keep looking at the clock and it keeps coming back to you that the Gators have time here.
But they're not stimulated by turning it over. It's all half court, and Purdue knows how to stick it in, turn it, use the clock. Even when Cunningham threw that tough shot, they got the whole shot sequence out of the way.
Right. This is not a comeback pace for the team trailing. Shot clock to 10. Boilers managing it well right now. Cornell got the three from the right side.
What a nice play. McQuay to the elbow, and then down in the corner, the guy can coach.
That is huge.
Wonderful screen by Cardinal. Got Cornell that open jumper.
Good hook down low. Cardinal trying to ride the hip of Udonis Haslem. 25 on the shot clock.
Look at the screen here, Bob. There's the elbow cut, and watch this. Little deployment. The shot is the easiest part of that.
Yeah.
Being free, making the pass, making the screen without fouling.
The screen got Miller there late. Here's Parker. He drills a three. Stop the presses. The Gators have one from beyond the arc.
13. It's feasible, but these guys might be a little fatigued too, Clyde. That's why they're backing off into the half-court press.
12.5% shooting from three-point range now on 2 of 16. Backdoor, Cardinal. The catch, the bounce, the leap, the basket.
And his patience under there. You can only be there frequently to understand the timing.
15, the Boilers lead. There's Wright. Right-handed scoop won't go. Rebound McQuay. He's fouled. Frustration foul by Udonis Haslem.
Well, you talk about being strong, but also the poise under fire. He's taking a little hit, still getting a kiss release at the end of that. He has been magnificent these 2 days.
Four fouls on Haslem. Harvey is back in. They took him out with 4 fouls a while ago. Well, they need his rebounding. Then they need to start running and gunning and sinking some, down by 15.
And you notice, though, he's still staying big. Tells you, I feel, that he's not real happy with his guard play.
We have not seen Dupay, Nelson in ages. Limited time for Kenyon Weeks. He is in there right now.
And they are just milking here.
Backdoor, Cardinal. Why not look for him? 3 Gators surround him. Over the baseline it goes. With the shot clock at 11, and the Boilers have been taking the shot clock down to single figures every time now.
Bob, he catches everything, doesn't he, Cardinal?
Yeah.
And that was a tough gather.
Way out there. Shot clock running down. Miller had it stripped right away out of his hands by Mike Robinson.
A killer for Florida. Look at that pass. Catch. Oh.
And it goes in.
CC on the money. He's marvelous with heat. Imagine him throwing the high inside fastball.
Duck and Chuck.
Bail out. Now look at this. I mean, he's got such a variety of releases. You might call them unorthodox, but extremely effective.
And the interesting thing, Billy, they had just gotten a fresh 35 on the shot clock.
Well, one of the things Gene wanted was beat the pressure full court if you got a challenge. That's the case then. They may have lulled them into a position where they're not going to shoot for another 15 or 20. I don't know if this is it for Cardinal.
Had fouled out Donnell Harvey. Boilermakers by 17. Well, Purdue's so unselfish today. 19 team assists. McQuay looking for his 18th point. And Wright will pull it down for the Gators, who are in serious trouble now. 4 minutes to go, 17-point deficit. Flashing on top, Haslam. To the wing, Miller. On top, Hamilton. Right out of his range. And a grab away from the ball against the Gators.
Might be Weeks, I'm not sure. Yeah.
That'll be his fourth.
Yeah, that back screen, you must be sure you're perfectly still. Now they're going to learn a lot from this game. Al Harvey being one of them. And Billy Donovan will be looking at the tape. And part of the process of being here is the teaching. He has been taught, this guy. He understands. He's now a teacher. And Billy, one of the really talented young guys, understands it's going to take a little bit of time. His guys aren't quite there yet. And this is part of the learning process.
Mike Robinson rimming one out. I'll tell you one thing, when Billy Donovan looks at that tape, he'll be so sick of Brian Cardinal, he won't want to see the Boilers for a long time.
He'll be using him for illustrative purpose, illustrations. This is what it means. This
Here's
is how
what
hard
you can do if you
play.
want it bad enough.
Exactly. Right? And I'm not saying they didn't play hard, but they didn't meet the test. They didn't step up to the plate as much as he would have expected, and I certainly did too. But that's youthful inexperience.
Miller for Florida.
And you can see the talent. So I'm just thinking of Miller with the basketball. He's adapted to the point here. Multi-positional guy. Nice
Weeks
curl.
flashing. Hamilton got his man off the floor, and that was smart by McQuay not to foul in that situation. Let him go. 72-57. Boilers will try to take it down below 3 minutes on this possession. Florida has to do some trapping now. Bonner on Smith. Cornell to Cunningham. All the Boilers will touch it here. Cunningham, the penetration into Bonner, but he was moving. It's a Florida blocking foul on Matt Bonner.
Oh my goodness, let's hope he's okay, man. Yeah, he's bouncing back up. But Cunningham is a tough little customer as well. He's not afraid to take a little bang here or there. Right in traffic, trying to avoid the charge.
Well, he gets the ball to his teammates. And Gene Katie will tell you he's not a one-on-one go-around guy. He'd rather go through you than around you.
Well, he's one of those guys that probably needs a roadmap. As he looks through, where am I going? I'm under control, versus a guy that just takes off and speeds his way to ecstasy. Oh, look
Cardinal
at that.
back in.
A smile.
Well, the coach doesn't consider this over just yet.
Well, a smile in the midst of a game. That's a first. You got it here on ESPN.
In his 20th year, a kinder, mellower Gene Katie. Hey, why not? They're
Elevated and knocked.
Georgetown, Carolina next. 16-point game, the Gators down. And it's Miller for Wright. Bonner for Weeks. They've got to have some long-range bombing here. Nice turnaround. Brent Wright.
I'm just thinking of getting better, and that's part of it. Addressing those inside people.
Cornell stepping through the possible double team. Cunningham back to him. He'll go to the rack. And Jerran Cornell with 19 on the day. Robinson has 17. So the two seniors getting it done for Gene Katie.
Nice spread, the open middle.
75-59. Miller the three. That'll shave 3 off. 16 for Mike Miller. But he's not shooting the 3 that well so far this year. Miller 1 for 3 today. He's only 2 for 10 in the tournament.
I'll tell you, with his rotation, though, this guy's a legitimate stroker.
Well, it was his recruiting that set off the controversy a couple of years ago when Roy Williams turned in Florida. A lot of people just refused to believe that Billy Donovan could get those kids above board to come to Gainesville. Coaches had told these kids they'll never win there. Well, Donovan's proven him wrong. Time will tell how good it gets. Cunningham.
This kid has stood the test of time. Clock running down. Feisty, 2 people on him. Good footwork to step through.
77-62 Purdue. Bonner on a nice feed from Miller. And Billy, you are so right. Mike Miller, how well does he feed the post and the paint?
Well, that's the amazing part about his game. He does so many things well. And just think of him as he matures. I don't mean stronger, bigger, or anything like that. Just matures. A little age on those bones. Nice dish here.
Cunningham, McQuay.
He's been absolutely marvelous.
Last minute, and the Boilermakers will advance to tomorrow night's championship game against either favored North Carolina or Georgetown. Brent Wright another. Gene Cady will win his 417th game at Purdue and the 455th of his collegiate career. We'll update all around college basketball for you in between games. Digger and Larry in the studio. And then Coach Raff and I will be back with the Hoyas and the Tar Heels. Final 30 seconds. We are Purdue, they're chanting, and they should be very proud of that this day. Here's Weeks the steal, and Boilers will let him go.
Oh, but he does not let anything go by.
You're right, Billy. That's a man who would not give you a 2-foot putt.
I'll tell you, one less vegetable. He'll take it away.
79-68. Cunningham will scramble his way around the half court.
Finishes with a little
shovel back to Robinson.
He does have some dishes.
The Boilermakers showed their experience and their savvy today, and they beat Florida 79-68. A well-deserved trip to the championship game coming up. And for Billy Donovan's club, they will be into the consolation bracket. So Larry Beal and Digger Phelps, the young athletic Gators, got schooled a bit today by the more experienced Boilermakers of Purdue.
Absolutely. And a really impressive performance defensively by Purdue. Florida, they really don't have an inside game to dominate with. And you can see Big Ten basketball won this game in part for Purdue.
I think the worst thing that happened to Florida is when they played at home Friday night, all the emotion, the big football weekend, Florida State, and they just smacked Florida State in basketball by 35 points. Now you fly over to Hawaii and think you're going to get things done. Billy Donovan has a young team, and when you don't have juniors and seniors that have that leadership, that does one thing too. You have no mentors to say, hey, here's how we do it. And that's where Cady, with Brian Cardinal's leadership, as well as Jerron Cornell, their defense showed up in the first half. They shut down the Gators, and that's where I think you look at Cady and say, he's back. He always figures a way to win with talent.
Yeah. And they do have talent on that team, especially with Brian Cardinal, as well as Jerron Cornell and McQuay inside. Well, Purdue is into the finals of the Maui Invitational, but who